military operation in Bali, Widikum, Jakiri, and other villages in the northwest region have witnessed the neutralization of over 23 separatist fighters. What are the details of this operation? Find out on tonight's newscast. Edith Kabangwala is now president of the Cameroon's People Party after a stiff misunderstanding with the Minister of Territorial Administration. Plus, still on the CPP affair, Josephine Bindzi and Habiba Issa contesting as the leaders are looking forward to a favorable decision to their favor. Those are top stories. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on the English Newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Josephine Bindzi. As announced in the headline, a court ruling has reinstalled Kawala as the rightful president of the Cameroon's People Party after the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, appointed Titafon the president of the party 2 years ago. Details with John Paul Sama.
Edith Kawala has been reinstated as the rightful president of the Cameroon People's Party (CPP). This comes following a ruling from a Yaoundé court overturning the decision by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, which appointed Titafon to head the party in July 20th, 2018. The party has saluted the decision by the court and affirmed their engagement in ensuring they fight for the future of Cameroonians and the respect of their rights. Kawala had written an open letter to the Minister of Territorial Administration where she rubbished the decision, booting her out of the party. It is worth noting that this is not the only political party in Cameroon that changes were made by a Minat boss, as a UPC as well as Manidem were also reshuffled.
Josephine Bindzi and Habiba Issa, who are contesting the leaders of their parties following the Minat decision, also want a favorable response. This follows the decision of the administrative court in Yaoundé on the CPP affair. More with you, Peter Nsosi.
Disgruntled members of some political parties involved in the July 2018 order of the Minister of Territorial Administration naming leaders of these parties are now optimistic that they too will have a positive response following the decision of the Yaoundé Administrative Court on the CPP affair. This is true of the UPC, where Habiba Issa is contesting the leadership of Honorable Robert Bapolipot. Every political party has its status and regulations, so the verdict on the CPP is a victory for legitimacy and also comforts us that the UPC will have the same fate. Habiba Issa has vowed to resume the case against the Minister of Territorial Administration, though she acknowledges that the problems of the party are enormous. For Josephine Bindzi, the verdict of the administrative court is long overdue. He believes that Anise Ekane, who was confirmed by the Interior Chief as head of Manidem, is illegitimate and wants speedy justice.
Vous savez, nous sommes au Cameroun et nous avons envie de voir une justice à double vitesse.
We are in Cameroon and want speedy justice on this matter, because when you listen to the Secretary General and President of CPP, we have the same arguments, and so we have no reasons to doubt that we too shall be vindicated. Paul Atanganji is being accused of interfering in the internal affairs of these parties, violating their internal regulations. But the minister had made it clear that his move is meant to end the chaos and internal squabbles rocking the outfits.
And onto this top story, a military operation in Batibo, Widikum, Jakiri, and some other areas in the northwest region have neutralized more than 20 separatist fighters. The operation also saw the harvest of some dangerous ammunition in the effort led by Brigadier General Valenka. Details with you, Peter Nsosi.
A series of offensives launched by the military in Bali, Batibo, Widikum, Zwa and Jakiri has led to the death of 13 separatist fighters in Bali, Batibo and Widikum, According to the commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Valenka, 12 other separatists were neutralized in Bokam through Jakiri. The Bali operation was initiated by the Brigadier General himself, following roadblocks mounted by Ambazonian fighters on the Bamenda-Enugu Highway, passing through Bali, Batibu, Widikum and Manfe. Besides the neutralization of the 13 Amber Boys, Cameroon's defense forces also recovered 6 motorbikes, a rocket launcher, 8 locally fabricated cannons, 40 traditional guns, 2 solar panels, 2 computers and 4 bags of gunpowder, amongst other items. The Bokam Zwa offensive, led by Colonel Matiang Charles Aleng, commander of the 51st Motorized Infantry Brigade, the Airport Troop Battalion and the Amphibious Battalion, led to the destruction of several separatist camps and the recovery of arms, ammunition, charms and hard drugs. The operation comes on the heels of Operation Bafut 1 and 2, realized between April and May 2020, which saw the deployment of 300 boats to dislodge and wipe out separatist fighters. The 5th Joint Military Regional Commander has hailed the soldiers for their commitment, but has cautioned them to respect human rights principles by targeting only those disturbing the peace of the population of the Northwest region.
And we bring you back to the littoral region, where the senior divisional officer for Wuri has on a second day carried out another assessment scheme at the Douala International Airport to ensure the effectiveness of preventive measures against the COVID-19 virus. Catherine Kone, in attendance, fires the following report.
Since the resumption of some flights, activities at the Douala International Airport are gaining steam. On site to assess the level of effectiveness was the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri, Benjamin Butu, who doubles as President of Incident Committee. While on his second day of inspection, preventive measures put in place to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus are strictly implemented. He expressed satisfaction with the team commissioned at the airport.
Non, on est satisfait de la reprise avec le vol de Air France qui est arrivé lundi dernier.
We are satisfied with the resumption. With the arrival of Air France on Monday, we managed it very well, though there were some irregularities at the level of the arrival, but everything was handled. So the team will continue work as instructed, and I think the end result is satisfactory.
The SDO for Wuri says the Douala International Airport needs an urgent sanitary inspector.
Prochaine recommandation, c'est que nous allons demander à ce que les vols.
Regarding other recommendations, flights will continue normally with the respect of hygiene and sanitation measures, which is a major issue we need to tackle here at the Douala International Airport in order to protect the population.
Other issues raised were the insufficient number of health personnel to conduct checks on passengers, communication problem amongst the team put in place. It should be recalled that the borders were shut down on March 17 in an attempt to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
And now we talk laxity in the wearing of face masks. The scare of contracting the COVID-19 virus has lost its steam as Cameroon has witnessed an increase in the number of COVID-19 infected persons since the discovery of the very first cases. Christel Asek-Swele, moving around the streets of Douala, made this observation and has this report.
Cameroon is almost at 6,000 cases of the COVID-19 infection, but the fear of contracting the virus is losing its steam. Sports like bars, restaurants and other recreational facilities have put in place all hygienic and sanitary dispositions, yet their clients don't bother to hold and practice these basic rules. Like this young mechanic, he gives us reasons why he doesn't wear his face mask often.
When I'm at my job site, I take off the face mask because it sometimes irritates me. If I'm inside the workshop, I don't wear it because sometimes it's the kind of work.
Going around town, it is noticeably that so many people still go about their activities without your face mask on or either respecting the 1.5 meters social distancing rules. In the midst of the global coronavirus pandemic, Cameroon has emerged with one of the highest numbers of confirmed cases in sub-Saharan Africa. Since the first confirmed person with the disease in March 2020, the number of infections has risen fast due to the laxity of the population in respecting the basic barrier measures put in place by the government to curb the spread of the virus.
The calm has returned at the Nextel office Aqua following the layoff of some workers by management of the telecommunications company. This comes after the senior divisional officer Benjamin Boutou instructed that none of the striking workers should be put off duty. Catherine Kone with details.
June 17, 2020, at exactly 10 a.m., no striking worker of the telecommunication company Nextel could be spotted manifesting in front of the Nextel office in Aqua. Activities are ongoing normally, like no major issue occurred. All disgruntled workers have been given an embargo not to strike in front of the office, and those who go against this order will be punished. After a peaceful meeting with the senior divisional officer for Vori, Benjamin Boutou, he urged the striking workers to cease from wearing black and not to carry a sit-in strike, and for both parties to work in compliance with the labor code. He equally emphasized that none of the striking workers should be given a sack letter. In total disregard against the instruction left behind by the SDU for Vori, the management of the telecommunication company to lay off some workers. In a document signed by the Human Resource Director and the Director General, the company says the workers' strike action was illegal. They equally called on the protesting workers to visit the Human Resource Department for the procedures for withdrawing documents as provided for by the regulations in force. Days back, the angered workers of the telecommunication company Nextel took to the street demanding for the payment of salaries, reinstitution of paid vacation, election of staff representatives, among others.
And we apologize, but we will come back to how corpses of COVID-19 persons are handled. The widespread of the COVID-19 virus has left the 21st century in a state of fear. Its very transmissible nature also poses a serious problem as to how they handle the corpses of those who died of the coronavirus. Christel Asek-Swele spoke with a victim's family, while an expert in anthropology voices out their opinions.
The mortal remains of COVID-19 patients henceforth will be buried within a period not exceeding 48 hours. The burial of these corpses should be done in the town where the death occurred, either at the family residence if located in the same town where the patient deceased, or otherwise in a public cemetery. The manipulation and burial of these bodies must be done by technical personnel trained and protected in accordance with the standard procedures in the area.
Don't want. So it's a good thing for them to have 48 hours to search for a place where they can bury their corpse. But you know, even psychologically, it's a good thing, so that the people can, when the person is dead, you can call the family, you can disinfect the body, you can see their body, because some people are not sure that it's their body. They can see.
This decision by the Minister of Public Health strictly complies with the resolutions of the Scientific Council and was greatly applauded by many when considering our African context of handling funerals. Family of victims will henceforth organize their funerals respecting this decision, although some of the conditions will have a long-lasting psychological problem on the family of the victims, who will be forced to bury their loved ones away from their hometowns.
So according to African people, when a person dies, suppose he is continuing to supervise or to guide our lives. So it is very important for us to take care of their body and give them a good funeral. But the problem is that those people living in town, where it is not their village, will continue to be in suffering because all of us do not have a land in town to burial our
Petition answers the recurrent denunciation of acts of unorthodox practices perpetrated in some health facilities concerning the management of mortal remains of COVID-19 patients that was brought to his notice.
And on our international page, the relationship between a father and a daughter evolves as little girls grow up to become women, sometimes blossoming in teamwork. Details with the VOA.
For Julia and Malcolm Young, human rights are a shared passion. So when father and daughter heard about a march for blacks who died in police custody, they knew they had to be there.
You gotta keep your distance from behind this guy.
Even during a pandemic.
He and my mom raised me to be really concerned about other people and inequality and injustice in the world.
Where are you from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
They're just kids. Father and daughter share a thirst for social justice, pursued in distinct professions. Malcolm is an attorney who promotes the rights of inmates. Julia teaches college history and has written a book on immigration. In July of last year, they attended this protest for immigrant children outside the U.S. Capitol. Julia got an email about a planned act of civil disobedience.
So I forwarded that to my dad and I said, do you want to get arrested together?
Then I said, Julia, the family that gets arrested together stays together.
And arrested they were. In the chaos that ensued, the bond between father and daughter grew stronger.
It was a very vulnerable position.
Your arms are behind your back.
I did have an emotional reaction to seeing my dad put in handcuffs.
Julia, who was, again, separated from me, and saw to see if she was all right, and saw her looking at me, mouthing, "Are you all right?" What could be nicer for a father than to feel the concern of your children for you?
A few months later, the duo traveled to Dilley, Texas, to interview Hispanic women who were seeking asylum in the U.S.
At some point, Julia felt, I was really pressing him, and she turned to me and said, "Dad, she's feeling really uncomfortable. This is really not good."
And as the week went on, I understood that he is really skilled at drawing stories out of people who may be really who may be almost too traumatized to tell their stories.
For a man who started protesting during the Vietnam War, Malcolm says the future looks bright as America confronts racial injustice.
To watch Julia and other young people now in the streets peacefully, but putting pressure on moving these issues ahead, there's hope that we'll succeed. If it wasn't today or yesterday, it'll come tomorrow.
And that's ample reason for this activist team to celebrate on Father's Day. Carolyn Prasuti, VOA News, Arlington, Virginia.
And now let's talk sport. Speculation still looms in the air on whether the 2021 African Cup of Nations competition will be postponed or not, as the Confederation of African Football, CAF, is yet to give an official statement about it. Christian Bazagok, Africa's Player of the Year 2017, gives his points of view as concerns the upcoming African Cup of Nations. More with you, John Paul Sama.
Barely 7 months to go for the 2021 African Cup of Nations, and uncertainty looms in the air on whether the competition will be postponed or not. A situation which has everyone speculating, as the continent's football managing body, CAF, is yet to come up with an official statement on this tournament amidst the coronavirus pandemic that is ravaging through the globe. For some players, like the 2017 most valuable player of the tournament, the lives of players is an important aspect to preserve and in favor of a postponement. It is very important to save the lives of everyone. And if the government of Cameroon or the Confederation of African Football could push forth the 2021 kickoff date, it would be great, because We have to organize the soccer jamboree in a way that it should really be a festive event, just to ensure that everybody in Cameroon can really live this once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Assister à cette compétition et que nous soyons vraiment heureux de l'avoir dans notre pays.
Given that the 2021 African Cup of Nations will be staged in Cameroon, the Lions winger is optimistic about their chances of repeating their 2017 glory.
Moi, sans vous mentir, le Cameroun a beaucoup de chance de remporter cette CAN parce que d'abord ça se joue à domicile.
Cameroon has a good chance of winning this competition because it is played at home, and the players are conscious of the fact that this is a cup they have to keep. If we don't succeed to win it, it might affect the morals of the players, and to win it, we have to work extra hard. Some major competitions around the world like the Olympics and the Euros have all been postponed, as well as qualifiers for the AFCON 2021, which were stopped as a result of the COVID-19.
And that is how we saw it on tonight's newscast. Thanks for being with us. Take another rendezvous in the French language with René Nassis Moto and be with us tomorrow 6 p.m. From us, it's good night.